very good morning to Ms. Ilma and my fellow classmates. So today our topic for our presentation is going to be about cultural imperialism. My group mates for today are Shafika, Yugesa, Alil, myself, and Anya. Firstly, I would like to pass a slide to Yugesa.
Hi, good morning guys. What is cultural imperialism? As Malaysians, if we look back in our history, cultural imperialism was and still is a problem. For instance, when the British were here in the past and when they left behind some of the traces, names of places like Georgetown and Port Dickson, some of the influence of the British. For the second point, cultural imperialism is a reflection of media imperialism. A personal example that I would like to give, my younger brother, he grew up listening to English music and he tends to take the culture within him. So United States of America has its print on media industry and at almost all media production it has dominated. Mr. Rosnan mentioned that foreign country makes its product for export-oriented purpose. So which is true because we rely on products from the foreign countries, which comes in two terms, that are advertisements and films. So back to films, I would like to pass it back to Ellen.
Okay, advertising. Advertising is probably one of the most, gives the most impact when it comes to culture imperialism. Many might say films give a bigger impact when it comes to culture imperialism, but in my opinion, advertising are the biggest impact when it comes to culture imperialism. For instance, when you drive around and you get stuck on traffic, apart from seeing cars all around you, you'll probably be seeing a billboard on your left, right, up, front and back. Or for instance, let's say when you go for a movie, before the movie even starts, the first thing you see on the screen is an advertisement, which is why, in my opinion, I would say that advertising gives a bigger impact on cultural imperialism. Okay, firstly, we would like to talk about Malaysian advertisements. So, as we all know, Malaysia is a country which is dominated by the Muslims. A majority of Malaysians are Muslim. So there are certain guidelines when it comes to advertisements that can be played here. For instance, one could not be too overexposed. Like, let's say you want to have an advertisement like a woman showing her cleavage or something, those kind of advertisements will be banned. Or advertisements must not contain any sexual content. Like, come on guys, how often do you see a La Senza ad on TV? No? Okay, yeah. Next. Alright, foreign advertisements that are about to be played here will have to go through certain elements. They have to process certain elements in it to see whether either it should be filtered or banned. For instance, those elements are such as sexual contents, ideas opposing Islam, and also ideas related to Israel. Next. Okay, this is one of the banned advertisements we have that was banned in our country. That is an example of a banned advertisement country. One of the reasons why that advertisement was banned, as you can see, there was a lot of sexual content in it. Next. Okay, now this is another advertisement which was played by TV3, which was eventually banned as well. one of the reasons why this advertisement was told to take down was because, as you can see, even on the first scene itself, an old man was on the sleigh trying to pick up the kids, which already portrayed Christianity in a Muslim celebration, which is why TV3 had to make an apology on Bulletin Utama and also take down the advertisement at the same time. Now I'd like to pass it to Anya.
The solution for foreign advertisement influx. As said, the government has instituted the regulation in which they believe that the citizen is not fully prepared to accept all this Western culture, beliefs, and ethics. And the solution for this is three of the solutions, which is ASA, MIM, and the basic guidelines for advertising. First, we're going to start with ASA. What is ASA? ASA stands for Advertising Standard Advisory in Malaysia. It regulates through the Malaysian Code of Practice Advertising, and it is established to promote high ethical standards in advertisements shown in Malaysian media. All advertisements are need to abide the Malaysian Code of Advertising Practices. And here are the practices which emphasize on how the solution to reduce this advertising influx. And first, you can see is the advertisement shown in Malaysia should be legal, decent, and honest, and especially truthful. And second point, advertising shown in Malaysia must project Malaysian culture, their identity, and how it reflects multicultural characters of the population, and also advocate the philosophy of Rukun Negara, which is the declaration philosophy. And as well as the third one would be like advertising should not identify or typecast each particular racial group, sex, with their traditional backgrounds and values. For instance, as this advertising from Petronas, we can see how this advertisement has portrayed multicultural identity as well as different backgrounds as shown in this advertisement. Next, second solution is from the MIM rules, which is Made in Malaysia. Made in Malaysia is incorporated under FINAS, which will be explained later on. And any foreign scene footages technology needs to have approval from the Ministry of Information, and any footages scene and technology used can only be approved if it's not available in the country itself. And if any advertisement use language is English, they need to use Malaysian English instead of American or British English. For example, as this advertisements. For this advertisement, we all know Nissan is a foreign product. However, they have incorporated the rule, the MIM rule, where first all this common advertisement is made in Malaysia itself. As you can see, like they show the Malaysian background as well as the KLC, which is the national monument, as well as for Coca-Cola. We all know Coca-Cola is a foreign product. However, they have incorporated the Malaysian culture, as they have incorporated for this instance, the top left is Hari Raya. Hari Raya is a national holiday which Muslims celebrate every year. And for this instance is the example of Malaysian English. For example, Shopnya is in English. You can actually translate like how the expression of shop. And another one is babe. It's like the spelling is different, but the meaning behind is like similar. And the third one will be the basic guideline for advertising. Talent used in advertising must incorporate Malaysian, and as well as have a percentage of local, and also using local location whereby is possible. An advertisement, as said by Alun previously, cannot contain sexual element or suggestive message. This is the advertisement.
Aktif Malaysia. Sertailah Milo Aktif Kedai. Lembaga wilayah peminatnya ada. Info lanjut di milo.com.my.
As shown as this advertisement, it have incorporated the locals as an advertisement as well as the location. And if you listen clearly to the lyrics, they have even stated all the states in Malaysia as well. However, advertising in Kelantan works a different way, as the rules of state in Kelantan is slightly different. In Kelantan, they are ruled under PAS, which is the Partai Islam Malaysia, which is an Islamic political party, which the state enforces that as per ruling and advertisement have other companies adhering to the requirement. For example, this advertisement. As shown on the website, this advertisement can only be found in Kelantan as they're known as Islamic State. However, for this advertisement is shown outside Kelantan, where they do use Arabic language, where this one said there is Arabic language. Next, I would like to pass to Yugesa to talk about films.
Thank you, Anya. I would like to talk about the cultural imperialism in Malaysian film industry. Local film industry is affected by foreign films because foreign films are good with its skills of filmmaking. Like we have Hollywood, Bollywood, and Hong Kong film industry, which is much more older than the Malaysian film industry, and they are like ahead of us in terms of the skills of filmmaking. So for the third point, I would like to bring a moment back from one of our previous classes when our lecturer asked the students about the local Malaysian war films. None of the students was able to answer. In fact, they had to search in Google. But if it is a Hollywood film, Saving Private Ryan, a war film, or Patriot, or Black Hawk Down, it's that influenced by the foreign film. Next slide, please. Okay, for the factors of cultural imperialism in Malaysia, Malaysia has a very conservative culture. So, as a solution to the film influx, as much as we can, we try to avoid themes with heavy drug themes, strong sexual content and graphic nudity, promotional of immoral behaviors, and portrayal of Islam negatively. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are the three examples of the movies that's been banned by FINAS. Pineapple Express have a heavy drug themed movie, and Bad Moms promotes immoral behavior, and Padmavat is a movie from Bollywood which has contents of mockery of Islam. Anyway, a good director would not portray any religion negatively. So next slide. Okay, this will be the final slide for me. Malaysian culture influence. So over here, I would simply like to say that there is richness of culture in Malaysia, and as a multiracial country, our culture is being melted together. And although film industry in Malaysia plays a niche role, there are quite a number of movies which promotes cultural inclination in our country. So furthermore, for the solutions of foreign film influx, I would like to pass it on to Shafika. Thank you.
Alright, thank you, Yugesa. So, as part of preserving the identity that has been mentioned previously, the local government had drawn several measures to help local productions. First, the mandatory screening scheme was enforced in 2005 to have cinemas in Malaysia screen Malaysian films for 2 weeks respectively. So, if not done so, then the cinemas will actually have the choice to reject local films in order to look for profit from foreign films. Hence, the mandatory screening scheme helps local productions to put their films out there, and this also allows moviegoers to take notice of these films. So some of the examples of the films are this. So Talent Time is a 2009 film directed by the late Yasmin Ahmad. Here is a 2013 film directed by Nick Amir Mustafa, and Lee Chong Wei is a 2018 biopic directed by Tang Li. So all these films have been given the necessary exposure under the mandatory screening scheme. So moving on, FINAS was actually founded to regulate the influx of foreign films in Malaysia. So they act by banning or just filtering out scenes that are deemed inappropriate for the Malaysian audience. So some of the elements would be strong sexual content, ideas opposing Islam, or even just intense gory violence. So moving on, This is one of the examples of a film ban, 50 Shades of Grey. So the 2015 film was actually banned by FINAS due to strong sexual content, which FINAS deemed was inappropriate for the Malaysian audience and which would hurt the sanctity of the nation. Apart from that, in 2010, around 200 million was actually allocated for the Creative Industry Fund to help finance local productions. So in that, soft loans were given, in which the process of getting the loans were made much more easier. So in that, it allows content creators to deliver better films in a shorter span of time. So as a result, many local productions were able to be established, such as the Uping Ipin animation series, which has really cemented Malaysia's status as an industry capable of producing good quality animations. Apart from that, the Bobo Boy animation series is also a good example in which it was able to penetrate the international market, such as Indonesia. And lastly, the Content Malaysia Pitching Center is a one-stop center which was founded by FINAS in terms of regulating or stimulating the minds of content creators in Malaysia. So what it does is that it helps content creators out there to relay ideas that they have in the production to the CMPC for them to help realize the idea that they have. Also, they can come here to be matched to specific sponsors and distributors so that they can also have a smoother production. So, for example, as you can see here, these are some of the activities that's being held in CMPC. Up here, as you can see, some content creators have gathered together just to create new ideas for production. And here's the pitching process that's being held, where they can come in and just relay any ideas that they have, and then it will be going through a few screenings to be approved. So, as for conclusion, I will pass on to Ella.
Thank you guys. In conclusion, cultural imperialism has both advantages and disadvantages. Whether the cultural imperialism can benefit one national's culture development basically depends on the whole definition of cultural imperialism. For example, let's say you watch a movie about an American being patriotic to whether his or her country. We can take that as an example to be more patriotic to our country. Which is why, under the powerful impact of imperialism, of the smaller nations such as us, we should exercise more on the regulation to protect our local production. So that's it from us, guys. Thank you.